Welcome to the Retail Reality Show.
Welcome to another episode, and actually the first episode of 2025 in a whole new setup after Martin has departed. So good luck, Martin, with wellness. Here we are with the new setup, and I'm really happy on a Friday early morning that I can welcome my fantastic co-hosts. So we have Yael and we have Nicolas. How are you doing today?
We're good. Are we awake already, Nicolas?
No, not yet. We just had to retake this whole thing because I was stumbling over my own words because I'm not awake yet. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not my time. But anyways, let's get going. Exciting stuff ahead.
Cool. So I think we have something to share, some exciting news from NRF, right? So we met in NRF, world's biggest retail conference in New York.
Has it been already like 3 weeks since we got back from New York?
Yeah, well, time flies. I thought it's max 2 weeks, but yeah, it's 3 weeks. It's almost Shop Talk and all the other conferences that are coming up. But yeah, what was your impression? I mean, we didn't have time to meet a lot at NRF, but we met, and you met a lot of people.
We met at the gala.
Yes. What was your perception of NRF? What were your key takeaways?
So, I don't know if anyone still goes to NRF for NRF, right? You go there for the side events and for the meetings and to catch up with everyone. And especially for me, coming from Israel, and I don't get a lot of chances to get some quality time with people like you guys. So for me, that's the best thing about those events, that you really get to meet everyone in one place. But if I take a moment to look from like a high level perspective on the themes that were throughout the event. So obviously, you can't talk about NRF without talking about retail media. Retail media is kind of like the new black these days. And this time it wasn't very much integrated in the agenda of the main event. But what NRF did, which was, I think, very smart, is they collaborated with the StrataCache to have an entire day about retail media just the day before the main event. So on Saturday, around 600 people gathered at the pier to get an entire day of content just about retail media. And that was, I think, the best content at NRF. Like, we were hearing from people like the SVP retail media of Costco, who just recently joined the company, and they're just building their retail media, and he has a really interesting perspective. We got to hear from both the retailer side and the brand side, even companies from Europe like Schwarz Group and the S Group and some other ones, and the brands like Danone, and I don't remember exactly the brands, but it was very interesting to hear the perspectives of both sides and see how sometimes even the terminology and things like that are not exactly the same between the retailers and the brands. And I think this is also where the true magic of retail media happens, because it's about the collaboration between the two sides that were, in the past working very, very independently, and now they have to learn how to work together.
Interesting. So it's retail media. I didn't expect you to say retail media, but so true. I had a lot of conversations about that, and I also did one breakfast roundtable regarding that, and I think Amazon is 8%, no 7% of the total revenue of 570 or 40 billion is already retail media, which is crazy. And I think I have also the market.
47 billion.
How much?
Amazon is making 47 billion a year.
Crazy.
Just from retail media. Walmart is obviously the second. Yeah, that's incredible. And what's great about retail media is that those are revenues that are going straight to the bottom line, right? There's no margin.
Yeah. I think there is still a high growth. So I think the CAGR is around 20%. We have 140 billion TAM globally, I think I remember, and Europe was 25. So we have to catch up in Europe, but I think that's exactly why so many people are after and get FOMO.
Well, I think NRF, as Yael said, I used to not even buy tickets anymore and only go to the side events, because in the end, on the main event, I think the conference content, they can improve on that, to be fair. The expo is always interesting. There's always like at least a little bit of technology that might be interesting if you're running stores. I would say this year, what was interesting to see is the hype curve of AI, how it is actually one of the fastest hype curves I've ever seen, and how it becomes a reality and productified reality in a speed that is unprecedented. I mean, we started talking about the new wave of generative AI and all that stuff probably like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And now we already see it productified in almost everything. So basically the way this develops and the speed this develops, it's kind of impressive. At the same time, what I found interesting is that you see that the hardware vendors, so the ones that are selling automatic checkout solutions, the ones that are selling scanners, screens, those are actually profiting a lot because they're building in technology into their hardware. Now my hardware recognizes if Nino wants to steal a chocolate bar or whatever. But the software vendors, they're becoming increasingly anxious because you can see that these tools can actually replicate functionalities pretty quickly that the established SaaS ecosystem, if they don't adapt and find their own way of making money. Salesforce is an example. Others also are trying to go into that agentic part. But if you don't have that, if you just have a solution that builds functionality, and if that functionality is too simple, that is something that is a threat. And you can start feeling that threat, I would say. So that was, I think, for me, an interesting part. And then, always our friends and family store tour, going through Brooklyn, looking at a couple of funky stores and seeing that despite all the technology, despite retail media, despite AI, there is still a lot of fun to have in stores. There's still a lot of success to have in stores. There were super successful formats that did not have any technology, not have any screens. Still, people are going there. People love to be there. So I think there's also hope for brick and mortar retail, which is, I think, the third part that I would like to mention.
Fully agree. Yeah. So just because you mentioned store tour, I think in the end, we are human beings. We want to have fun. Also, like Yael said in the beginning, she goes to NRF because gathering people, meeting people, the gala is important. And I think the same is true with retail stores and experiences. Yeah? So I still remember this Le Labo store, where you can get personalized perfumes, and they explain how the scents taste. And then they ask you a lot of questions, and then they come up with the perfect scent for you. I think that was quite impressive. Our community is still big, it's going bigger. We were at On Running, I remember. And then lastly, for sure, ultra local concepts, tapping into local communities like Kith. I think this very special New York fashion retailer doing collabs where you can buy sneakers for $800. Nicolas, that's your example, but it's still like the store. I think a great blend, and we already did an episode on that last year, so you should really go. And just the other thing I wanted to pick up, AI. So I fully agree. I think compared this year with last year, I think there was a lot of advancements, a lot of progress, and you can go into more nitty-gritty details. So I saw a lot of more no-code, low-code agent builders. I think for me, this shows that the responsibility moves a little bit towards business users, so it's more accessible. They can automate on their own. And I also fully agree. I think if you have just a very simple SaaS solution, you're very prone to get replaced by an AI agent. So I think that's why companies like us, like Salesforce, is going that direction and pioneering things. And you can see it already that it works. I think I would be, if I would have a time machine to fast forward to next year, I would love to see how many parts of the business like customer service or marketing get automated in the next year. So maybe that's a good question. Nicolas, what do you think? How many % of customer service interactions will be automated?
I have an opinion that's getting stronger and stronger. I think we're going to replace probably like 50 to 60% of the repetitive tasks easily, because when it comes to customer service, when it comes to, let's say, retargeting, creating copy and backgrounds for retargeting, stuff like that is going to be automated because it's going to be good, and the differentiation will come from using the better tools, the better models. I think there's a lot of room for efficiency and automation in these parts of the game. At the same time, I see that if you want to implement AI correctly, the human factor is not dead yet. On the contrary, right now, it just superpowers the people that understand how to work with it. So we will still need marketers. We will still need people that take creative decisions, because in the end, the AI always goes, it's part of the technology. It will come with a probabilistic example. But that's not necessarily creativity. And while, of course, there's also tests, and I've seen some stuff that creativity can come out of an AI, right now we're not at that stage yet. So you will still need those people driving it. And the interesting part will be, and I think there's going to be a war for talent, who are the real top talents orchestrating all these tools? And that's I think the most interesting part going forward. Of course, we're going to replace many of those tasks with that people are doing today with machines, but at the same time, it is going to create a whole new, let's say, job hype market around the people that are really doing that well. So that's how I look at it. Yael, you're nodding.
Yeah, I think that the beauty is that, like Nino said, we're now at kind of like the second wave of AI. So it's no longer about generic usage of AI. I mean, everyone can take an open source AI and put it in your systems and have AI answer questions from customers based on your FAQ pages and so on. Like that's very that's like very basic, right? But now we're getting into very specific implications, right? And even if we take two trends together, like we talked about retail media and we talked about AI, so we actually launched at NRF a solution that is an AI powered studio for creating video ads for retail media. So inside of the studio, you have 3 AI agents. You have the AI agent that is writing the brief for the video ad. You have then, while you are recording the ad, so there is a real human being that is recording the ad. Okay, we're not there yet at a point where people are comfortable buying from avatars that might look like real people, but you can feel that they're not really it. So there is a person recording the ad, but there is an AI director that is telling the person in real time, oh, do that, don't do that, that could be better. And then at the end, there is an AI editor that is editing the ad. So while we still have the human in the loop to drive the creative direction and to really be the centerpiece of the content and the main, let's say, storyteller, AI takes a lot of the workload, of the brief and the editing and all of that, and really leaves time for the human beings to do what we do best, which is to tell stories and to engage and to and to have fun with what we're doing. I mean, imagine a world where you wouldn't have to do any of those boring tasks of sending emails and like pushing papers from one side to the other, and AI will be able to do all of that for you, and you can really focus on being creative and coming up with great ideas and interact with customers, understanding really what they want and really be part of the interaction with them.
Yeah, agree. And maybe AGI, talking about artificial general intelligence, I think we're getting to a point where even the last part, like the person in front of the camera gets automated. I just checked Instagram, Little Michaela. Do you know Little Michaela?
Yes.
So the first AI created influencer, and right now she has 2.4 million followers. 2.4. That's crazy. So people follow her and are part of her life if you look at the comments. So
well,
let's see
when that, until we have an AI director, we expect something from you there. So we need an AI director telling us what to say, so people are engaging. We need you to follow us if you didn't already. So follow our RRS page on LinkedIn. There is a lot of new content coming this year. We're driving up the volume a little bit. We're looking forward to bringing you a couple of cool new episodes. There's a couple already recorded that are going to be launched in the next week. So stay tuned. Follow us. Nino, Yael, this was a great morning episode. I'm starting to wake up. I'm going to go to the coffee machine now and get a coffee. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great day. And all listeners, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicolas. I love the energy.